It's a tribute to black history in Natchez, Mississippi. In the audience, members of a historic family. They are descendants of slaves who achieved remarkable success here after the Civil War. They even went on to buy this plantation where they were once held in bondage. Later on Sunday morning, we will meet the Mazique clan, rediscovering their history and one another.
Old Natchez on the bluffs above the Mississippi was the center of a white planter aristocracy before the Civil War. Go there and you can still get a feeling for the pride of the Old South, a society built on slavery. You wouldn't think there'd be much for black people to celebrate in the history of Natchez. Oh, but there is, as Gary Reeves is about to show us.
People cherish the past in Natchez, Mississippi, preserving and living in the great houses and plantations of the 19th century South. History is around every corner. Every year, Natchez presents a tribute to its Civil War era. But there is more to Natchez history than hoop skirts and anthems. On this night, the other side of that life was also celebrated with a reenactment of black history in Natchez.
After being defeated in battle in 1788, I was captured and sold to slave traders.
The guests of honor at the pageant were members of the Mazique family, the descendants of an extraordinary pair of slaves whose lives were reenacted here.
We are August and Sarah Mazique. We were house servants of planter James Railey of Oakland Plantation, but we were not satisfied being tenant farmers. We wanted more out of life.
As freed slaves, they earned a place in history, prospering and buying their own plantations.
Why, sure, you look pretty the more you know, the older you get.
All the way out from Chicago. You came all the way from Detroit, and I came all the way from L.A.
That's right.
It is a story some of the young Maziques hardly know. To learn more about their heritage and one another, more than 120 Mazique family members from around the country gathered for a weekend in Natchez.
You guys are the only babies here.
That's right. Come on in. Because the first time I ever seen you.
Come on, get as tall as that.
Oh, my goodness. My goodness.
Maud Mazique is the matriarch of this family and the mastermind of this reunion. Even at age 86, she is called Cookie by everyone. She is the great-granddaughter of August and Sarah Mazique, and she wants her grandchildren to learn some lessons from the family history.
You know, you put two pencils together and you call them, they would break.
Is it important for you, for the youngsters, to know where they came from?
Yes, I think it's very important for them to know where they come from and what they can do if they live right and let other people live and have love in their heart.
Her ancestors showed what can be done even starting in bondage. An inventory of Oakland Plantation shows even as slaves, August and Sarah Mazique were quite valuable, worth $1,200 each.
Natchez was occupied by Union soldiers in 1863, and so the Maziques became free at that time.
Natchez historian Mimi Miller has helped the Maziques trace their family origins.
It's amazing to me that two slaves, we know they could not read and write. They signed legal documents with their mark, managed to buy a plantation.
In 1869, when most freed slaves were sharecropping, the Maziques were able to buy China Grove, the plantation across the road from Oakland, with help from a friendly white neighbor. They became prosperous, growing cotton and processing it in their own gin. In 1891, their son Alexander bought Oakland, where he had been born a slave.
Well, they called it
come up from a different way. Yes, you used to come up from over there. Yeah, that's what I remember.
99 years later, the descendants came back.
All the bedrooms and all the doors open on this side. You know, the living room over here, and the dining room. That in my you stay here? I was coming here a while and stayed with my grandfather.
Over the years, the Maziques sold both their plantations to other families. Most of the Maziques had left Natchez for better opportunities elsewhere. Coming back, they were touched by the cemetery. Former slaves on one side,
Railey's and the Boyds here.
former owners on the other.
This is Laura Mazique. And this is the only stone, the only Mazique stone that we have.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel a part. You know, you can just feel akin. Although I've only been here a couple of times, but I do feel, I feel the spirits, you know, of my ancestors.
I think what makes the Mazique so special is what began with sheer determination and hard work, got directed into education to the point that one of the Maziques bought a townhouse in Natchez so that the children could come and stay during the school months and attend school because there were no schools for blacks out in the county.
One of the first educated Maziques became a doctor. 30 more followed in his footsteps.
Everybody should be educated. And they were strong, they were determined, they were stubborn.
Dolores Mazique Pelham, the daughter of Maud Mazique.
And I think through the teachings of their parents and the older ones, who we do say to our children, who may be a little reluctant to go on to school, look, you got Mazique blood in you. You go on and get that education.
I remember playing on that tree and all the tree trunks.
Yeah.
Down there.
Yeah.
You can see how small everything is, but you can see how big the ground is.
And I remember when Dolores, we were playing up and down this road and how she walked down there and got a thorn stuck in her foot. Remember, in her big toe? Wasn't it your big toe?
Yeah.
Right now, they have 2 rooms in here.
Maud's daughter Mildred took her son Don, a California doctor, on a tour through her childhood.
Yeah, what we used to do was cook in this part.
The memories as we're talking about them and sharing. I remember so much about the place. I'm happy to be here and to see it again and to see the beautiful grounds that we own.
Are you sad too?
At the same time, yes.
Why sad?
Because we had to sell the place. My mother wanted so bad to keep it.
You remember playing here when you were a kid?
Of course I remember playing here as a child. It was beautiful. And I had no fear of falling off of this. And this is the only tree that I ever remember that had the great big roots growing out of the ground like this.
Roots is what this weekend was all about for the Maziques.
They should take away some history and background of the places that they have seen, and I'd like them to know how hard it was to get to these places, and it wasn't stolen, it was hard work that did it. Everybody say
Maud Mazique and her daughters followed the family tradition. They did something good for the rest. They taught them about roots, the reason the branches of the Mazique family remain so strong.